Tsubasa Kurata is a genius programmer and a well-known otaku who collects anime giant robot figures. As he heads home, he gets hit by a car, which kills him instantly. His last thought is that he won't be able to see the next robot model that will be released soon. In another world, a carriage is attacked by a giant flying insect called a demon beast. Inside there's the Chevalier family, Ernesty, his mother and his grandfather. His grandfather gets out and tries to defend his family with a sword. But a giant scorpion appears and destroys the carriage, almost killing Ernesty inside. A giant knight-like robot appears to save them, and Ernesty remembers his past life as Kurata. He reincarnated in a world that has the thing he loves the most, robots. His father, who is piloting the knight robot, tells him what it is, a silhouette knight, a military force unit used for combat and battles against demon beasts. It is piloted by a trained professional called a knight runner. From that moment on, Ernesty decides to live his dream and become a knight runner when he grows up. Since his family are nobles, he learns everything about the new world and what he needs to do to achieve his dream. He becomes friends with twins, a girl named Addie and a boy named Archide, after rescuing Addie from falling off a roof by using his magic skills. When he finally joins school to become a knight runner, he's discouraged by his teacher, who tells him that he's young and short to learn the science and pilot a silhouette knight. But since he can't pilot a normal-sized silhouette knight, that just means he will just build one that can fit his stature. In that same school, he meets a welder friend, Batson, by saving him from bullies. Ernie meets Batson's father and thinks of a new weapon that can be used for close and long-range combat. During his first magic measurement test, he asks his teacher to skip grades if he gets a perfect score, to which he agrees. He is able to hit all the targets at the same time with his new weapon, and as promised to him, he gets to skip middle school. 3 years later, the students are called for camping to train and everyone marches out. During the camping trip, he meets his twin friend's half-sister, Stefania Cerati. But on that same night, a horde of dinosaur-like beasts with gorilla beasts come running toward their camp base. Everyone is ordered to evacuate while senior students use their silhouette knights to protect them. Ernie realizes that there are too many beasts and thinks that there could be something they're running from. Suddenly, a giant behemoth approaches the entrance to the camp. The students' silhouette knights are sent to defend the entrance, charging mana for magic and striking the beast with swords. Diedrich, a knight runner, gets terrified and decides to run away in fear. Ernie spots him running away and runs after him. Ernie zaps him with his magic to take over his knight. Since Ernie is too short, he connects his newly made models of magic rods to the silhouette knight's controller. He then reprograms the knight's script and excitedly runs back into the fight with the beast. Ernie fights the beast and aims for its eye because the beast's skin is very thick. After realizing that strategy doesn't work, he thinks it's best to wear it down. He hits its legs and breaks Guar's sword, which Ernie throws away after. This upsets Diedrich, who wakes up after being zapped. He shows Ernie another sword in the field and Ernie goes for it. The reinforcements reach the scene and start to blast at the beast, making it angry. They charge it with massive blasters and attack it at one point. The beast forms a ball of fire and breathes it around, obliterating the knights with the blasters. Ernie gives it his all by stabbing the beast's eye while it's distracted and gets ready for the final blow. And just as he tries to end it all, Guar fails as a sign of metal fatigue. But Ernie never gives up. From the outside, he gives commands to Diedrich, who has lost all hope of surviving. He uses his new programming to form a barrier that focuses his air bullet on the beast. By his order, the knight jumps backward while the beast comes at it, surrounding itself with the bullet. Ernie stops the knight and grabs the sword he had stabbed the beast with and electrocutes the beast with a lighting technique, killing it on the spot. The incident is reported to the king, who then decides to meet Ernie. The king decides to give Ernie a reward for his bravery, and Ernie chooses to be rewarded with knowledge only the king is rumored to have. The knowledge of the knight's brain power center, the ether reactor. The king accepts Ernie's request for knowledge, but under one condition. He has to build his silhouette knight, and if the king likes it, he will give Ernie the knowledge he needs. Ernie then heads for the lab and strips down Guar to make his diagnosis and prognosis. He explains the issue and gives a solution to the current problems the robots have. But while they are still waiting to make more improvements, the students are ordered to go to Fort Cassates to meet with Marquis Dixgard for inspection. They get to a red area while traveling and are suddenly attacked by shadow worms. Ernie can predict the worms' movements by listening to them through the ground, while Ernie can fend off the worms without a silhouette knight. The runner students are in their silhouette knights and shoot the worms, killing and exploding them successfully. Ernie finally meets the Marquis, who asks him to explain his unit in great detail. But he's surprised when he tries to extort future plans from Ernie, and he agrees, as he just cares about making more robots. Some demon beasts appear in the village they're staying in. But it's only a plan to lure the Dixguard's Order of the Scarlet Rabbits out, and they infiltrate the fort through a stolen Silhouette Knight from the Order. At the fort lab, the enemy steals the new robot unit, but nonetheless, the Order arrives to defend the designs. The woman leading the gang of bandits makes it out alive and escapes. The king then summons the students who worked on the new units and fought hard with an enemy group and demon beasts. He gives Ernie authority over the units under him and the runners alike, creating the Order of the Silver Phoenix with Ernie as their commander. He and his team get to work to build the new robot that he keeps dreaming about. Time passed and everything is ready. The king hosts a mock battle between the Silver Phoenix and the official Silhouette Lab Knights. A centaur-like Silhouette Knight carrying another wagon with 3 robots inside appears. Such appearance impresses everyone, even the king. Ernie now has his own Silhouette Knight, but it's still far from perfect. He attacks first, while Addie and Archie and their Centaur Knight distract their opponents with their speed. Ernie's Knight charges in flight toward the opponent and surprises everyone watching. He dodges the attack that the opponent uses, while everyone attacks and defends their platoon too. Diedrich and Edgar work together for defense from an improved Aracumber and attack from a new Guar. Ernie's team gains the upper hand yet loses mana. The king orders for the battle to stop as he has seen enough. The king announces that Ernie's order won the match. He will also let Ernie design the prototypes while the lab polishes them and ready them for war and battle. The king announces to his son and grandson that he will be leaving the throne, and he asks Ernie to design him a custom Silhouette Knight to commemorate his reign. Ernie meets Imrise, the king's grandson who wants a custom-designed Silhouette Knight of his own. Ernie gets to work and finally presents the royal units, a gold lion and a silver tiger. Both the king and his grandson want the gold lion, so they have a spar where the winner takes the gold one and the loser gets the silver. Imrise wins and gets the gold Leo, which is thought to be much stronger than the other one when in reality, Ern made them with the same specs. There's news of a demon beast attack, a shell case that's heading towards them. The king lets the Order of the Silver Phoenix know about it, and they set out to end it. With the new units, the fight proves to be very easy. The Gold Leo also gets some action with a fire-spreading feature. Imrise fries the shell case while Ernie goes to seek out the queen to prevent future colonies from her. Ernie orders the twins to target the queen's legs to make it easier for them to defeat it, but the legs are covered in invincible armor. They attack the underbelly and rips it off and the queen falls down to her death. Ernie, after having been thought of as worthy of all Silhouette Knight knowledge, is taken to the village where ether reactors are made. He gets to learn about the people of the village and the village itself and how ether reactors are made after the village's elder agrees to it. A few months later, he finally goes back home to start working on his own Silhouette Knight, Ikagura. Ernie and his order get a report from the undercover agent, Nora, involved in investigating the enemy who stole their units. They get to know of the kidnapping of Elinora, the princess of Kushpercha who will be forced to marry the prince of Zalodic. Nora updates them on the whereabouts of the princess. Ernie and his friends get into their new Silhouette gears and head to rescue the princess along with her aunt and cousin. Archide rescues the princess who initially refuses to go in a self-deprecating fashion. But before they reach that safe haven, the enemy appears in their airships. Ernie starts slashing and destroying their Silhouette Knights before they even reach the ground. They try to put up a fight by firing magic at Ikagura, but Ernie shoots at their airship causing it to escape the scene. The enemy returns again with the prince who had ordered the kidnap of the princess. Cristobal falls into a trap and his strategy fails. He is attacked as soon as he's sighted. Javelin-like missiles are shot at the enemy from hiding. The first defense line, which is Edgar's, opens fire and shoots at them too. Ernie comes in with his finishing touches as well, darting around and shooting from all angles. Ernie finally meets Cristobal after he had decided to turn the ship around and leave the scene. Ernie follows him to find out who is in the ship that is running away already. Cristobal is ticked off by this and confronts him in his night. The two battle it out for a second, and when Ernie starts to shoot at him, he stops him, hoping he can make him join and give him whatever he wants. Ernie refuses his offer as what he wants the enemy can't give. Enraged, Cristobal starts to shoot at his own ship and causes it to crash with him and kill him. The enemy airships flee the area upon seeing Cristobal go down. Several months later, they return. While the Order of the Silver Phoenix is helping Elinora, the now Queen of Kushpercha, reclaim their former cities. A dragon-like figure is seen in the air approaching the area where the Order is. It starts to channel its mana into fire and breathes it unto them and burns everything in its way. The Drake fires at Ernie and he keeps dodging them. When he fires at the Drake, they activate their lightning shield to block the attacks. They chase after Ernie for a while, he dodges their attack and they defend against his counterattacks. When they are left wide open from a javelin missile attack below, Ernie gets to take his position and grab onto the ship. But he is fended off by the Drake when it spins over. The Drake can't really touch Ernie while he can touch them, so they decide to pull out their trump card, a smoke screen that is designed to destroy the flying engine of Ernie's Silhouette Knight. After his engine starts to fail, Ernie parks down a Karuga and shoots at the Drake from there. They fire at Ernie and he fires back at them equally, creating a massive ball of magic fire that cancels itself out from its opposing elements. A second massive ball is created, but the general of the Drake is warned that a third one would cause a distraction to the ether reactor. The enemy retreats. The Order goes back feeling very defeated and starts to make their own improvements. They devise a new plan to attack the enemy head-on when they least expect it while reclaiming the last city that belongs to Kushpercha. They do as intended and reach the enemy base where they encounter the airships. The airships start to drop fireballs on the Order, but they counterattack with javelin missiles from the ground. Ernie appears after the Drake's appearance in an airship piloted by his building team and is ready to battle the Drake. The Order's airship is tested full force towards the enemy's Drake. When the enemy sees them coming, their general orders to open fire. Acting scared, the boss commands the Order's ship to deflect and head on up into the clouds, while the Drake follows them behind. Ernie and his Ikagura shoots the javelin missiles at the Drake, but the enemy tries to stop them by blasting them, but destroying it only drops a liquid onto the dragon. It's oil. Ernie shoots it with a fireball and the Drake starts to burn. Horatio Gogis is the scientist who made the Drake and is responsible for its enhancements. He suggests the general uses his latest invention, Ether Reactor, to protect the Drake from any attacks from the enemy. After the order is given, the Drake grows in size with its energy field that confuses everyone. Ernie realizes what the enemy has done and decides to break through the field with his mana-focused swords and attack the Drake from the inside. The Drake starts to lose mana and goes out of control. Ernie also gives it a little push to its destruction before the inevitable happens. The dragon lacks mana and cannot use a shield to protect itself. The general decides to pilot his silhouette knight attached to the head of the Drake to crash on the princess. Ernie tries to stop him by pushing the Drake back to change its direction, and that deed proves to be too much. Archide then comes to give a hand as Elenora's knight. He runs towards the silhouette knight to stab his massive spear into it, allowing Ernie to successfully deflect the crash away from Elenora. Both the Drake and the Night Carrier that Archide piloted crash yards away from the scene. After the fight, Ernie's order returns home where the king thanks them for their work and gives them a reward for their commander's wishes. A new lab for Ernie to continue to follow his dream. Watch this next video. See you on the next one.